So hello everyone, welcome back to again one of the not fresh, because we had already been talked. I hope that everybody have watched the part one of the British section with Mr. Steve. So this video is going to be very special. The part two of the earlier video where we had talked a lot of things specific to British accent. So thank you so much, Mr. Steve, for making this happen. And this video is gonna to be again deep diving into British accent, learning more over that how a person from beginner can learn it more structured way. And I'm delighted to have a conversation with you again.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
All right. So without even, delaying a single second, I would like to go deeper since I hope that the person who had already coming here after watching the part one, there we discussed a lot of things and you also gave, the tips, some of the quick lessons right within a short period of time. But this time I wanted this session to be more specific, more structured, so that the people who are watching can get something in a structured manner and can learn a lot of things within a very short period of time. So, Mr. Steve, my first
I'll
question.
try my best.
All right. So my first question would be starting from fundamental. So the agenda would be we'll be trying to understand the fundamental mistakes what specifically other origin people do while learning this accent. Then we would go for the next stage where you'll be telling us the practical learning method of learning this British accent, and then even at last we will be discussing 30-day roadmap of how someone can adopt this very quickly. Moving further, the first question and the foundational understanding the accent, right? So someone who is completely beginner, so what are the most important foundational sounds or pronunciation pattern in the British accent they should learn first, according to you, Mr. Steve? This would be the first question to understand the fundamental of accent.
Um, I think you're using the right word there with sounds, because when you try and learn from a textbook, you're seeing the words, but we're not talking about words here. We're talking about sounds. So one letter can have many sounds. I think we touched on last time, the English alphabet has 26 letters. And five of those letters are vowels, and they're easy to remember. Now you hold your hand up, it's A-E-I-O-U.
You.
They're easy to remember. It'll take you a second to remember, and you should remember them. However, the sounds they make, well, there's 22 of them. So there's five vowel sounds, but there's about 22 other sounds. So O, for example, which is a vowel, A-E-I-O, that can sound like O, like the letter name. It's called its long sound. It can sound O, like in log or dog. That's its short sound. But it can also sound like oo in fool or my mind's gone blank. I can't think of another word to do it. Ooh, no. Right. So one letter can have lots of sounds, is what I'm saying. So you touched right on it exactly. You can have, we have to learn the sounds of English, not just the letters. So we've got five of these vowels that make lots of vowel sounds, and all the other letters, like B or P or T, they're consonants. Don't get put off by that sounding like a big long word and complicated and grammar. I don't do grammar very much. So you just need to know you've got five vowels and you've got 21, is that right? Yeah, 21 consonants. But we're talking about vowel sounds and we're talking about consonant sounds. Okay, so that's the first thing you must, that's the fundamental, that's the basic building block of learning the sound of English. Now, English speakers, I know lots of learners, every learner thinks they speak very quickly. And we don't speak quickly. We speak efficiently. We're lazy speakers. So in the classroom, you might be taught a single a nice simple sentence like, the man went outside to buy some bread. That's easy to remember because there's nice gaps in between each word. So you can take that and you think, the man, okay, if you're learning grammar, it's definite article, man, noun, you know these. This is what you're taught.
Right.
He went outside. I know those words. To buy, the verb to buy some bread. Easy. The problem is, English speakers, when they say these words, they say them as efficiently as they can. So the words don't have these gaps in between them. English words, when spoken fluently, they sort of hold hands. They link and join together. So you must surround yourself by native sounds. It's not that they're fast, it's they're efficient. English speakers are lazy speakers. We'll find the easiest way to do things, the easiest way to say things. And it's not slang. People seem to look down and say, oh, this is slang English. This is English from the street. Well, it's the English that most people use. So move away from these gaps between words and start practicing how to join these words together. I'd say that's the number one thing you can do to sound more natural yourself and also to understand native speakers when they speak. Does that make sense?
Yep, lovely. Right. Two things I want to ask here. You mentioned
First, let me guess. The first one is, why do you wave your hands around so much? Sorry, I'm passionate for this. And so I do. I'm trying to put them in my pocket like this so I don't do it because I can see a little picture of me by the camera and I'm like this trying to stop it and I can't. I'm going to wave my arms, but I apologize.
No problem. That's really shows that you're into the conversation. Energy transfer can be easily, that's great too. Though coming back, the starting with the sound thing that is very fundamental you told, that is very basic. There is vowels and consonant, right? And you mentioned that O sound or any other, let it be vowel to consonant could be pronounced in different manner. So is it more specific to the situation? Like if somebody is using an explanation, then O became O, something like that? Or how can someone, differentiate that? I believe this could be a
Yes.
differentiation factor. Number one. And number two, shall I go with that or after that I should ask
No,
this?
go with that. Go with that. I can only do one at a time. I'm very old, as we've discussed last time. So I can only do one thing at a time. And you're absolutely right. It depends who you're talking to, what mood you're in, what information you're trying to get across to them. So, yeah, it does change. It does change on that. We tend to, people talk about stress in English, and English is a stress language. If something is important in a sentence, we tend to stress it. You hear that word more than anything else. In that last sentence, you heard the word hear very clearly because I said it very clearly. I stress it. You hear that very clearly. You didn't hear that, the word that, hear that. That I reduced down. I used something called the glottal stopper. We can talk about that later. I didn't even pronounce the T. I said, you hear that. You hear that. You hear that very clearly. Hear was the word I wanted you to hear, to understand. So I stressed it. Some teachers will tell you, you make it louder. And some people will say that you go up in pitch a little. You hear that very clearly. Well, you don't. That's just nonsense. All you need to do to stress an important thing, something you want the person to understand, just pronounce it really clearly. I'm sure later we're going to talk about how to reduce things down, the unimportant words down.
Right.
But the things that are important, if I said, I'm going to meet you at 2 o'clock, then two is really important. I'm going to stress that.
Correct.
But I'm going to meet you. Well, you probably already know that, so I'm reducing that down. It's not, I am going to meet you at, that it's not important. Two is important. Clock is important. So I will stress them, not loud, just clearly. Okay. So yes, you're right in what you say. You can say the same sentence with different meanings just by pronouncing those sounds differently. Right. If I said a friendly way to talk to someone, a friend or a stranger who's nice, you might call them mate. Okay, you've heard that. Hello, mate. How you doing, mate? Nice to see you, mate. I might call you. You've got a big long name, Anne Schumann. That's a long name. I might just start calling you mate instead. Okay, so hi, mate. How are you? That's nice and friendly.
Okay.
But if I was drinking and you deliberately bumped into me, hey, mate, stop that. Suddenly that mate that was friendly a second ago wasn't stressed, becomes stressed. And it means something different. It's not friendly. You know, we can reduce words to make them friendly. So everyone knows, everyone who's learning English, one of the first things you learn is excuse me, don't you? You learn that, excuse me. Yeah, to get someone's attention, excuse me. But the reality is, that's not a very friendly thing to say.
Correct.
Let me demonstrate.
Yeah.
Say to me, Steve, you're very old.
Steve, you are very old.
Excuse me. Can you hear the aggression in my voice?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, you try. Your glasses look ridiculous.
Excuse me?
Nice. Yeah, excuse me. And the reason why that sounds aggressive, it's like you've done something to upset me. You've said something, excuse me. We put that X in there, the X that you're taught in a classroom to say. But it means if I hear that, I've done something to upset you. I don't know what I've done. What have I done? Why is he saying, excuse me? Excuse me, can you tell me the way to the park? Why have you said it like that? It's a strange thing for me to hear. Instead, we drop the X altogether and it just becomes, excuse me. Listen to the difference. Excuse me. Excuse me. Can you hear? Excuse me. It's friendly. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, how can I help you? Excuse me, can you just give me a second while I have a drink of water? I would never say, excuse me while I drink water, because it's an aggressive way of saying it just by putting that X. So it's a sound, isn't it? It's just different ways. It's difficult in a few minutes. It's something you've got to just listen to and think, oh, listen to that. I remember when you're watching a British TV show or an American movie or something, and you hear them say, just listen for when they say, excuse me. And you'll hear it now. Now I've mentioned it, you'll hear and think, oh, Steve was right. He's being friendly. He's just saying, excuse me, can I have a cup of coffee, please? Or someone's done something, they're in the way. Excuse me, I'm trying to get past. You'll hear it now. And it's little things like that you've got to surround yourself with.
Lovely, got it. And now I'm feeling that this excuse me when we were pronunciating just for sake of pronunciation. We were just using as a word. And now I get the fundamental what I really wanted to understand, that it's not only about word, it's more about emotion. As you mentioned that even excuse me, as simple as that. First thing and foremost, correct me if I'm wrong, the people should learn, specifically who are not from native speaker, they should learn where to emphasize. I think the whole thing would get changed. Even though they are knowing the word, if they know that where and how to pronunciate the same word, whole meaning could be changed like this, excuse me, or the exclamation. Perfect. Amazing. And I think this will come after observing, as you mentioned, the first number was by listening more and more in different contexts and understanding where we can actually use that, or there is any alternative method to faster master this.
Not really. It's listening to native speakers. I think people who are not native English speakers who teach English are brilliant. I would never, ever put them down. I would never say they're not doing a great job, because they do. I know lots of them and they do a great job. But once they've taught you English and you've learned the grammar and you've passed your exams, start surrounding yourself with native English speakers and start, your brain is great. It will sort it out for you. Do you know? It will sort it all out in there just by listening. You think, oh, so that's what that means. There's a non too polite word called bugger in English. Okay, bugger. It means something really, really bad, but that use of it's never done. It's used all the time, and it can be friendly. It can be the friendliest thing in the world. You do something. You said to me, Steve, I'm gonna buy you a special present for your birthday. I go, oh, you bugger. You don't need to do that. See, you bugger. That's friendly.
Yeah.
But you sat on my car. Oi, you bugger. Different altogether.
Correct.
Okay? And it's aggressive. You say, I'm paying tonight when we go out. I can go, oh, bugger off. I mean, it's friendly. It's like, I don't want you to do that. You come to my house at midnight when I'm asleep, bugger off. Yeah. Suddenly, it's the emphasis, it's the stress on the words, it's leaving the gaps in between, which is the way that you're taught ordinary English is, conversational English is. And the reality is, it usually means we're quite angry. Something is really important and we want you to hear every word. It's not conversational English, which is why when people come perhaps to the UK or watch English TV shows, they suddenly think, I've passed my exams in this language. I can't understand a word they say. Where's the subtitles? And you click on the subtitles because you think, this is ridiculous. Why can't I understand those words? It's because they don't have these gaps in between. They hold hands when we say them naturally, and we stress only things that we think are important.
Amazing. Now, the second question is absolutely coming to that way. I hope the first one got clear. The emphasis part, the stress part, and the sounding part is being cleared. Now, talking about the conjunction of two words, being you earlier mentioned that native speakers are really lazy, though they'll say anything quickly and probably the other person couldn't able to understand unless they emphasize from their side and they wanted to stress it, right? So does even I'm listening to you from a long time, I'm really loving that energy, and to I could able to comprehend because you are probably making it more easier for me to understand because you're taking care of that too, so that unshuman and non-native speaker can understand by giving certain pauses. Do you think this would be the real tone of the person who would be speaking on native? Because as you already mentioned, they are native speaker, they're lazy, they will do the conjunction of the two words. People might not be getting that. So what would be the real method to go and understand, comprehend real speaker, native speaker?
It's difficult. When I started creating videos, which is about 2.5 years ago for
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, I'm sure there's a link below. When I started creating them, I had to decide, first of all, what level was I aiming at? Was I going to be a beginner label? This is a car. It is a yellow car. Can you say yellow? Okay. Or was I going to speak with my own accent and I was going to talk like this? And, how complicated do you want me to make this, really? And I decided at the start, I didn't want beginners. Okay. There's lots of great channels that can do that. BBC English will teach you for beginners. And these are my fingers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's great. Everyone's got to start somewhere. I wanted that the people that knew some English already, they might have passed exams. They were intermediate, lower intermediate, advanced intermediate, but intermediate sort of people, about your sort of level, who struggle to understand native speakers. And so when I started, I had to decide what pace I would speak at, where I would leave gaps. And I found it so difficult. You watch some of my really early videos, then you can hear me struggling to slow down.
Yeah.
And it was awkward. And some of my early videos are pretty bad because, like everyone's YouTube videos, the first ones are pretty bad. But it was because I was deliberately trying to leave these gaps and it felt unnatural. So as I've gone on, I do slow down. Even my last video was me walking around a big furniture store and just saying what I see. And I listen to it and I think, yeah, I wouldn't quite say it like that, but it's close. I would say I'm about 85% of the speed that I normally speak in an everyday conversation with friends and family. I'm about at 85%. So find someone who speaks at about that level. There's this thing called comprehensible input. I think that's the technical name for it. The idea is you listen to English where you can only understand about 75, 80%. The rest you simply don't understand. So you watch someone walking around a furniture store or walking through a street, and as they talk, you should be able to see. And your brain will sort out the other 20% because it can see what they're talking about. And this comprehensible input has been proven time and again to be the fastest way to learn how to become fluent. And so if I pick up this and I said, okay, well, years ago I used to be a professional photographer, and this is the only lens that I have left. And on the side you can see, you might not know the word lens, but I've got it in my hand. So you understood years ago I used to be a professional photographer. So your brain's taking that in, and I've picked something up and I'm talking about it and I'm saying this is a lens. And you're thinking, oh, okay, that must be lens. Your brain will just take that in, and the next time you see it, you think, a lens. So you want to try and find programs, movies, YouTube, lessons where you can't understand 100%. If you understand 100%, you're wasting your time. I said to you last time, I think, I play the guitar, and sometimes I watch brilliant musicians and I think, oh, that is great. I want to do that. But what I usually do is I find someone playing something I can already play because I sound great when I do it, and I can think I can do that. So I can do 100% of what that person's doing. I don't learn anything. It makes me happy, but I don't learn anything. When I learn is when someone's just a little bit better than me, and I try and copy them. And that's when I learn guitar. That's how you learn a language. Don't go for the easy ones. Don't go for this is a yellow car. Go for people and you think, I can nearly understand all of this, but not quite. That's where you're going to learn.
Perfect, amazing. Like, I think you're talking about the milestones, what people can achieve on a certain level of point, and they can look forward, except they, and even some of the time they might not be understanding the whole thing, but I think eventually if they keep on going, keep on, understanding and comprehending the things by visualizing, by listening more and more, and that's how they used to get.
Absolutely.
Perfect, perfect.
Absolutely.
One more aspect in that I would like to understand, Mr. Steve, since we are talking specifically onto the accent part where we are understanding the importance of taking pauses, making more stress on particular word in a sentence. Though in terms of communicational aspect, some of the time I find many more people talking about this quite efficiently that if you are talking, even though you are native speaker, you are non-native speaker, you are speaking something in public, So people will find more authoritative, or people will give you more value if you know where to take pause, not only in terms of accent, not in terms of only language skills, though in terms of communication, because they find the time to comprehend the things what you're speaking, and they somehow feel that the person who is taking the right pauses, who are giving them time to understand the things what he's talking about, is carrying the authority. Do you think this is going to be relevant in the same case of communication too?
You have to decide what's the reason why you're speaking.
Speaking.
What's the reason why you're in a conversation with someone? And it's to get your ideas across to them
Hmm.
and their ideas across to you. It could be the form of a question. Is it raining outside? I don't know. I haven't been outside. So that's the reason why I'm speaking to you. I thought you might know and you don't know. So I've passed some information to you and you've passed it to me. It's important to give a pause to let the other person speak. One of the peculiarities, the unusual things about English is pitch. And pitch is the tone up and down. And in English, usually, there are exceptions, but usually when we finish a sentence and we want the other person to speak, we go down in tone.
Yeah.
Is it raining outside? Is it raining outside today, please? Please. The please is going down. Can I have that? Can I have that? Uh, what's your name? That's a common one, isn't it? What's your name? Name goes down. It signals to a native English speaker, oh, it's my turn to speak.
Okay.
My name's Steve. Steve. What's your name? Name. We usually go down at the end of sentences. And so that naturally will give you a pause because you go down at the end of a sentence. Lots of languages, other languages don't do that. And when I'm teaching one-to-one lessons, at the start of the first two lessons, we often talk over each other because the person the brain hasn't worked out that I'm going down in pitch. It's your turn to speak.
Yeah.
And so that's a simple trick. Listen for the pitch going down. The chances are that person now wants you to start speaking. Yeah, it's difficult. It's difficult. All I can keep saying is native speakers don't naturally put pauses in between their words. And if they do, it's usually because it's either very, very important or they're a little angry. That's just the way native speakers speak. We join words together. We do this linking, it's called. And there's about 4 or 5 technical different little ways that we join words together. And once you get that, suddenly you hear it all the time. When you hear it all the time, your brain says, oh, I understand now. He's not saying next time. He's saying next time because you don't pronounce that T. So it's next time. Got it. And you hear that then from every single time. Then you start saying it.
Lovely. I think we had already covered this aspect in previous video too,
Yeah.
where you talked about that. Though I just saw the time, it is already half an hour, and we are only cover the fundamental thing. I think the way
Oh,
we are going and the conversation is going
sorry.
would again take one and
False.
more two videos. Though again coming back, I would like to discuss, since we covered about the sound part, we talked about the emphasis and stress part. Now, moving further, would like to know a few of the practical techniques to practice. Since, if someone want to practice the British accent daily at their home, so what simple exercise or method would you recommend for beginners especially?
Right. First of all, be careful using British accent. I know it's used. And when people say, I love a British accent, so I love a British accent. I love everyone's accent, really. Usually when people are talking about a British accent, they're talking about someone like, I don't know, the Princess of Wales, the current Princess of Wales. She speaks beautiful English. And, it's very clear. In English, we'd call it a far back accent.
Or back.
Hello, how do you do? I'm the Princess of Wales. So lovely to meet you today. It's that type of accent, and that's usually what they think. But a Northern Irish accent is a British accent. So if you're saying, I want to learn a British accent, do you want to learn a Northern Irish accent? You shoot your face, Ansherman. What about yourself? It's difficult.
Okay.
It's difficult. Or Scottish. Oh, see, the wind's going to be treason, can you do again? It's English, but what accent is that? What Welsh, a lovely sing-song, Geordie accent from up north. One of my favourite accents. Liverpool accent. My friends talking, all right there, lads, let's go out for a bevy of what? You can't say a British accent. All you can say is a sort of standard English accent. Variety. Immerse yourself in a variety of English. The key things I would say is if you want to go and live in America, if you want to understand American movies quickly and easily, then surround yourself with an American accent. If you're going to go and live in Canada, and lots of my students end up in Canada, then surround yourself with Canadian movies, Canadian TV shows, Canadian news, Australia, New Zealand. Choose the country's language. But within them countries, there are lots of different accents. I think I might have mentioned one of my favorite British TV shows to recommend is something called The Great British Bake Off. And it's just a wonderful TV show because even though it's about baking, making cakes and bread and biscuits, things like that, that's not important. What's important is the contestants are from all over the UK and you hear them just chatting with each other. And it is such a good learning experience. It's a fun thing to watch. And there's another one called Gogglebox. And Gogglebox is people watching television. A slang word for television in the UK is Gogglebox. I might say to you, let's watch the Goggle. But let's not go out tonight. Let's watch the Gogglebox, meaning the television. So there's TV shows called Gogglebox. And it's people being filmed watching TV. And they're from all over the UK. Some from Scotland, some from Wales, some from England. And they just talk, it might be a husband and wife, it might be the children and the parents, it might be the grandparents, it might be two friends. But watch 5, 6 episodes of that, and your brain will start taking it in and thinking, I see what, and some are more difficult to understand than others simply because of their accent. A strong Birmingham accent is difficult for me. People from the city of Birmingham, it's difficult for me. And I'm a native English speaker. I can't understand it all, but your brain starts to understand because you see context. Like you said before, you see visual things and your ears take it in, your brain sorts it out, and suddenly you're starting to understand it.
Lovely. I mean, that I feel that is the why you also try to explain the things, being engaging that, because just being like that and explaining something is not be that relevant, and people might not be find that much how you can visualizing the thing using your hand, gesture, posture. Do you think this also may comes being into the native speaker thing, or it comes naturally, and how did someone can learn with the English or with British accent? Because I feel this is very important, right? If we are talking only, we can emphasize on word, we can take care of our accent, word sounding, but the non-verbal communication, where even if we are not speaking something from our word, but we are able to depict those things from our body, gesture, posture, head movement. As you're nodding here, I'm getting acknowledged. Even you're not saying anything out of that. So how one and how much it is important to learn someone who is coming from non-native thing.
It's so important. I made a video about it. I think it's called Body Language or How to Speak English Without Speaking, something like that. It's on
Right.
the channel. And I just assumed, as you assumed, that all over the world, no matter what words came out of the people's mouths,
Yep.
their body language would be the same. And it's not. In Turkey, for example, to say no, they nod their head backwards. That means
Mm.
yes in English. We go like that.
Correct.
And Indian people have a habit of doing the head wobble. You do a little head wobble. It's common in India. That's your body language, and that's nothing wrong with it. It's absolutely
Yep.
perfect.
Yep.
But it confuses us because we don't do that. If we say no, we don't go like this. That's unusual for us to. If I was wants to emphasize it, no. But in normal conversation, I do it one way. I go, no. Doesn't matter which way I do it. No.
No.
Or yes is just up and down like this. Yes. Yes. I never go like that. I never go up, down, and up. It's always up and down. Oh, this touching the nose means something. This means something. This means something. This means something. Oh, yeah, it's so important. It's so important. The shrug of the shoulders. In Italy means something completely different.
Correct.
So yeah, it's body language is fun. I don't know, I think it's about a 10-minute video, but I put it together because it fascinated me, it interested me, and it's so important. Body language. If I sit there like this, I don't want to be here. Yeah, okay, yeah. How fast can I get this over with? That's not nice, is it? I don't want that. I want to be open.
Correct.
So, yeah, body language, some is the same throughout the world, a lot isn't. So, yeah, you
Right.
need to learn British body language. I've never seen it taught anywhere else. I'm sure it is, but I've never seen it. But I know you can find it on my channel.
Sure, sure. Even it's just less than 1 minute is being rest, and a lot of things is still being rest to cover. So I hope that we'll come up with one more session if times align with that. The practical session of 30 days is just remaining. So we'd love to collaborate again with this body language wallet thing. What I think you had already made a video. I'll make this in description too so that people can find it from there itself and cover. I think there's so many things to learn, and within 1 to even 3, 4 videos would not be relevant or would not be sufficient. So yeah, probably we're gonna make one more video where exactly we're gonna learn. But thank you so much, Mr. Steve, for your time. And I am really enjoying the conversation. I'm not sure what people and how they're gonna perceive it, but personally, I'm learning so many things from you. And if you'll watch my next video,
You're
you'll get
very,
to know.
you're very welcome. You're very welcome. I work 6 days a week. I teach private